and it was a huge adventure, and I loved it. It's hard to say that you love war, but because war is just the worst and most evil thing in the world. Yeah. But from my perspective, I was looking for and digging up the good in those very, very unprivileged places where there was war. And I always found some friends and always found people who are heroes, unsung heroes, but they are heroes.
There's a lot of them there.
And who are, willing to face the challenge and rise up to a challenge. And that just gave me a lot of faith and a good feeling about humanity.
Let's Talk DXB. Real conversations by real people.
Zoltan, thank you so much for coming into Let's Talk DXB. So I was obviously doing my research, and you have had a very interesting path travelled. So from a childhood celebrity star to then being a war journalist and correspondent, having a stint in the corporate world, and then an entrepreneur and founder of your own business, SunMoney. So I find your journey really interesting, actually. So I'm very excited to talk to you. There's a lot of questions and just unpacking how you've got into this place. So thank you for coming.
Hello, Sharon. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
It's great to be here.
Thank you.
It's a great show. I love it.
Thank you.
I watched several episodes before coming here.
Great.
And I always talk about myself as a very lucky guy. And I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
But I look back at my life, and I just have been very, very lucky to live this.
Yeah, and such a diverse path, like when I was reading about your bio, it's such a diverse path.
From my perspective, it's not that diverse. It's just phases of I think phases of my journey. I started out very early. Well, I was a very talkative little kid,
right?
And I was kind of like an exhibitionist kid.
Got it.
So it was a fairly simple association for everyone that I should do something in theater or acting. And I was really good in public speaking at a very early age. So whenever there was a big holiday or a celebration, I was the one pushed out to tell that poem or say something to the crowd of little kids.
Amazing.
And so I ended up in the theater and then did some TV work there too. And then from there, at one point, like it happens, it's natural. It's nothing like... I don't want to degrade anything I've done before. Yep. But at one point, I felt the aquarium is too small for me. So I needed to grow. And I had a whole new set of talents and my smarts. And I was a very curious kid. I stayed curious. Yep. And so I started, I started university. That took me on a path to communication marketing and then business. But then a lucky accident or fate just took me to become a crisis correspondent. Wow. And it turned out I was, and I'm trying to be modest, but sometimes it's hard. You have to be confident about what you're good
100%.
at. 100%. And so I was really good at it. And I could use my, fear and burn it and make energy out of it, which is, I think, one of the most important things in a crisis situation. Yeah. And I realized that basically I must have been a guard dog or something in my life before, because I'm really good in reacting in crisis situations. So I was really good for this. So spent 10 years there.
10 years?
10 years going around the world. Well, maybe not the best parts of the world, but I had time. I traveled 250, 280 days a year.
What?
So I lived on the road.
Yeah.
Lived in hotels where there were hotels,
My
of course.
goodness.
And it was a huge adventure. Yeah. And I loved it. It's hard to say that you love war, but because war is just the worst and most evil thing in the world. Yeah. But from my perspective, I was looking for and digging up the good in those very, very unprivileged places where there was war. And I always found some friends and always found people who are heroes. Yeah. Unsung heroes, but they are heroes.
There's a lot of them there.
And who are, willing to face the challenge and rise up to a challenge. And that just gave me a lot of faith and a good feeling about humanity.
Yeah.
So that's what I loved in wars. Disasters were different a bit because there was no direct enemy involved on the field, and some of these disasters are spectacular, also very scary but spectacular. So I've seen earthquakes, volcano eruptions, I've seen hurricanes, tornadoes, big floods, very, very big floods. I've even seen heat waves and a lot of other things, and then big demonstrations, very violent demonstrations too in my life. And but these were all adventures, and I took it very seriously to stay objective, but also. The other part of me, which was not a reporter, grew a lot. And of course, I grew a lot professionally with that. You get the right profile, you get the right image for basically any job in media afterwards.
Correct.
But I think it was more important for me that I think I became a better human being in that journey. And it was confusing, and it's I think at one point in my life I had PTSD and all that.
I was going to ask about that, because the trauma that you're seeing for a lot, I didn't realize 10 years is a long time to be in that environment. But I love how you've taken the positive, which is very difficult, I can only imagine, but also kind of use that. But there must have been a lot of trauma in your experiences.
So most of the trauma I remember is purely physical now at this point. So I had some run-ins with fate, and I have a lot of scars, and it just happens. It's, if you are in war, no one is really you are someone without a weapon.
Correct.
So no one cares about you actually. And they say mercenaries are dogs of war. I think journalists are rats of war.
Wow.
So journalists are in war and reporters are in war as the plus one, and that's not good.
That's never good.
So so they treat you as a plus one in war, and you are inconvenient for everyone.
Wow.
Even the allied countries you are inconvenient. And when you end up in covering war in Africa, tribal war in Africa, when there are more than two parties involved, it's some foreign army, some foreign special forces, plus three opposite sides, plus the mercenaries. Then you learn that you are not even a rat. You're just a cockroach running. If you're lucky, no one steps on you. So I think you have to be modest, and you have to take it with a bit of humor. Because if you're modest in this, that you are nobody in here, and you stay alive.
That says a lot, right?
And you have to be very confident.
Correct.
And smile. Whenever you can. That was my weapon.
Right.
I was always very confident, even in very, very dodgy situations. And I was always smiling because they react to that. Even very aggressive people react to that. Well, sometimes in a bad way.
Bad way? Why are you smiling? You should be scared.
But at least you triggered some emotions.
Correct.
And that's important.
Yes.
If you trigger some emotions, they will look at you as a human being. It's harder to kill a human being. As a journalist or a reporter, you are an object.
Right.
You are nothing. So that gave me a lot, and
Wow.
that built up, and also my relation with God and faith. It was a very important thing, and seeing that people, when it's really hard to believe, they still stick to their religion and faith. It gave me a lot about my faith, that in my comfortable European life, I should give more time for my faith, and ever since I'm growing my faith and nurturing it.
That resonates with me,
And I think Africa is a great school for faith.
Yeah, it like lives and breathes there as well. And I think for me, do you know what? One lesson I've learned, because I've gone through divorce of recent, one of the hardest challenges probably in life, kind of rebuilding and the reality. And you can go two directions. You completely forget like your religion and God, because you're like, why is this happening? And it's not in comparison to what you've experienced. So actually it's probably a wake up call to be like, sometimes you have to go through these journeys and hopefully lean into your faith and, your beliefs to then know there's hope and there is, I think, probably light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's what I'm discovering through my own journey with God and my faith. But I feel like, yours is extreme. So for you to even tap more into your faith during that time, that's, very impressive.
Yeah, life is better with faith.
It helps, right? Personally,
yes,
I think.
It's like, we should put billboards out.
Yeah.
I think this world needs faith. Like Europe is out of faith, and in a lot of ways, US is out of faith. So I think what you're telling, it's the same journey what we had,
right?
Different triggers.
Different triggers.
Yes, and yours, since it's a personal trauma, let's say, I think it's even a more direct way to get to it.
Yeah.
And I had to do my rounds.
Quite extreme rounds, though.
Extreme,
but
I was. Maybe I should just got married and then divorced. I did later on. So.
Oh, that was okay. You had a different.
But So I think, and I immediately when I said like I felt after 10 years that I'm gonna run out of my luck. You cannot be that lucky, and you have to be modest about this.
Very true.
And that the Japanese say that you have this luck about war, and that you will feel it when you run out.
Yes.
It. And I kind of felt that I have to be careful about this. And I kind of like, I wanted to do, the aquarium was again too small.
Yeah.
And then I immediately got a corporate business card that you are now director of this and that.
Can I ask, how did you transition from 10 years of that, like very like high risk, the fear, the adrenaline, everything around it, to then go into like a corporate role with a business card? And
can I be honest, Sharon?
Yeah, please.
Like after the first 2 months, I wanted to run back to war.
And I expected you to say that because that's quite hard in itself.
And in war, you know who is shooting.
Yeah.
In corporate life,
you have no idea.
You just get emails with 12 people on it. And then who is the killer here?
Who's the killer out of the 12? It's a different way, isn't it? A different survival.
It's like Cluedo. Every email is Cluedo. Who is the killer? And who wants to kill me? And who wants to kill who?
Correct.
So it's a dogfight in corporate, and especially media. It's crazy, and a lot of loonies in media, and I was never one of them.
Got it.
And so I tried to be me in media.
Yeah.
Which I think it was hard for media to sometimes swallow.
Got it, yeah.
And some boards really liked me with my way of doing business, and some didn't.
Okay.
And so I had a lot lot of conflicts. It was a war zone for me.
A different type of war zone,
It was always a black cloud when I appeared. But what I'm proud of from my corporate years, that the people I work with, my team, always loved me.
Yeah.
And I think that was more important for me to build a horizontal team than to be successful in the vertical.
100%.
And it was more practical because these people fought beside me.
Correct.
And we did good results.
Good.
And we brought in the ships.
Yep.
And I think it was good as a step in my life.
Yeah.
Because then I felt that I was ready to do my own, and I started with some startups, and then I was not focusing on one thing, which was a mistake.
Okay. Yep.
And some money went down the drain.
Yeah, these are lessons that would be interesting as well, because a lot of people that listen to Let's Talk, I think there's a big drive where people want to do for themselves now. Like, either maybe COVID as well shifted people's mindset of, I don't need to be stuck in a 9-to-5, or life is too short and I want to explore, or whatever God has designed me to do, I want to tap into that. So it'd be interesting, those lessons that you've learned in terms of like transitioning out of the security of a corporate salaried 9-to-5 into doing your own thing.
Which is a huge drag. Like your card, your budget for your private things, and all that, all the perks of corporate leadership. But I don't miss the dark blue suit.
Right.
And I don't. You never miss a corporate board meeting.
Yeah.
You don't have like nostalgia coming. Like, oh, that was like what a night.
I really wanted to be in that board conversation.
Yeah, again, like I sometimes still wake up screaming.
Oh
though.
gosh. Yeah.
So. But I made some good friends in my corporate days, and who are friends ever since. And I think all of them got out alive from corporate.
They wanted to follow you.
But then when I found myself in the real world, it was different, because when you're spending for yourself, you're spending your company's money, and it's hard to understand and wrap your head around that. But then it cleared up, but I wanted to do a lot at once. Yes. So I was like into IT, into healthcare, into all this, all at once.
Wow.
Everything at once.
You just wanted to grab it all. Yeah.
Yes. And then I lost focus.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And when you lose focus, it's usually not good for your company.
Correct.
So I started to clear the roster, and that's when I met my current business partners.
Oh, fantastic!
And we first became very good friends very quickly.
Yeah.
And two totally different people. Yeah. We are. I don't think we are alike in a lot of things. Like all three of us are very different.
But that works.
But the
sometimes.
goal and what we think of the word is the same.
That's the main thing.
And immediately we kind of synced, and then of course SunMoney came to life, and then I took part in it.
Yep.
And ever since, it has been 10 years.
10 years.
Huge
wow.
ride. It's
Successful.
Our 11th year.
Congratulations.
And, growing bigger and bigger. And I'm only focusing on that. Whatever I pick up has to be in connection with this. So even a new thing, like we started out in recycling recently, zero emission, like innovative recycling. Yep. And it's in connection fully and in sync and in synergy with SunMoney. It's now a SunMoney product.
Got it.
And I'm responsible for, of course, marketing and communication is one thing. I'm also responsible for building our long-term road.
Yeah.
I don't like corporate tags. That's what I'm not saying.
I could tell you were trying to not use a corporate lingo.
I'm the guy who is always looking out for new territories, for finding new connections. I'm building our spider net of network, but I had a huge network. Yeah. So it's really easy for me to reach out. So that's our long haul or long tail play is me. And I'm also dealing with all our international connections, and which I love. And I love people. I love to communicate. I'm a bit lying here. So I love people in small amounts.
Right, I understand.
I try to live a simple life in my own way.
Got it.
My kind of simple life, I'm trying to keep that as a goal to make it even more simple.
Yeah, but that's such a good skill, because I feel like a lot of people that do well and successful, it can easily go the other way, right? When you find that your business is doing well and you've expanded internationally, and you can easily go the other way where it becomes a bit more flashier, or you have a lot more responsibilities, a lot more outgoing because you want your lifestyle to be. I think it's a skill to kind of stay quite modest and humble, and whatever's genuine to you, I think is the thing.
I think it all comes down to my relationship with money. It's everybody has a journey with money. And I'm not coming from a rich family.
Right. Okay.
Middle class family during communism in Hungary, in countryside Hungary, I should add, not even Budapest. So. But we lived a decent life. We had happy Christmases, and I got to experience like a high school in England, and which was a huge thing to go beyond the Iron Curtain. And I think it was a shock for them too. But
like, what happened?
I don't think I'm going to have a sculpture at that high school. So, but it was big for me, and then that was kind of fatal about my connection to money.
Yeah, understood.
And because I always felt that I'm not happy because of money.
Yeah.
Actually, if I think it through, and I'm being very honest, when I had the most money on my accounts in my life, and my net worth was the highest, I was not even myself. You wouldn't talk to me.
Really?
Yes. I would not be sitting here. You would hate me.
In what way? Like your energy, or like?
I think I was just dull.
Got it.
I was dead inside,
Wow.
and it was part of the corporate. What corporate? And I don't want to demonize
anyone that's in corporate. I'm in corporate, but I
don't want to demonize
Yeah.
corporate. But that was the effect. Like I was dying inside, I think so. When I had the most money, I was unhappy. That's when I got divorced and all that. So it was not good times for me. So I don't see like good times related to money. I see that. And that's why I told this in an interview before, and I got some black and white for that.
Oh, did you?
It was like it was like, or how we call it cold and warm.
No way.
For it, and because some of my friends with money would say that like that's that you don't respect money, then just then you don't respect people with money. But they didn't say that.
No,
and because like people who respect money, of course, they live a very fancy life.
Yeah.
But for me, the fanciness they want or they like is not my kind of fanciness.
And that's it.
I'm looking for places which are exclusive in a very different way.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for that feeling that this cannot be bought with money. And because my life has been a lot of privileges which cannot be bought by money. The people, the situations, the glory of humanity, the experience, the beautiful things I've seen was not, you couldn't just go there and swipe your American Express for that.
You can't get that for any money.
And I'm trying to give that to my son, and I'm trying to take him on those kind of trips.
It's fantastic.
And who doesn't like, of course, everybody likes a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, nice, exactly.
It's a good thing, but there is life beyond 5-star hotels. And there are 5-star experiences out there. And just last year, very recently, we were in North Africa.
Okay.
We did an amazing tour, which was like I branded it for him because you have to brand everything for 12 euros. So I branded it with Star Wars and Indiana Jones, because there are a lot of places in North Africa which were locations for Star Wars and Indiana Jones. But we did a huge trip, and I think even if it's spectacular to see the Star Wars set in a Tunisian desert, and it's still there, it's untouched, and even if that's amazing to see for me and for him too, I think the most influential moment of it when we were sleeping out in the desert and with Bedouins, and then this old Bedouin guy was making bread in the sand. And then we were eating there, and then he started to play music, and it was then the sun was going down, and then the stars coming out, and I think those nights were the essence of the trip, because we were so close to everything, the universe. And I like to be close to the universe.
And, I can tell that's in you.
It puts you in sync with the universe. So I think those are the moments when we were like stargazing with Oliver, my son, in the evening, with the old Bedouin guy playing a very weird instrument. And then the other Bedouin guy was singing a song he would not be good in Tunisia Got Talent.
But he tried.
but it was, I think, that's the signature moment which cannot be bought.
You will never forget. I mean, for your son, like, how can you can't forget those experiences. That's like amazing.
We went to Kairouan. This is amazing. Like, I've been to many old cities in North Africa and in the Middle East, but this is a spectacular old city, like really untouched. Very nice, beautiful, colorful, and beautiful buildings, and the whole, labyrinth. You can get lost in Kairouan. I think even Oliver, at the third corner, he was already lost in the magic of that city. And like there's the fourth most sacred place for the Muslim world, the Kairouan Mosque. Went in, and it was like beautiful. And Oliver has a very original way, and I guess the fresh attitude towards the word, that he asked me, like, all these beautiful mosques, and they don't ask money to get in, for a tourist. Like, if it was, and he said to me, like, Dad, if this was in Europe, they would be charging us. And it's like so good that he, understands that.
I love that.
What's happening in our over commercialized world, and. But it was just fantastic. It was just a beautiful city, and he wanted to sit in one of the cafes to drink tea, and then to really absorb, and it was just a great experience. And also the same in Jordan. We went to Wadi Rum. We kind of have a thing for, of course, deserts and Bedouin culture. And so we found this amazing guide, Bedouin guide, and we spent these days in the Wadi Rum desert. It's like it's an amazing desert. Also Star Wars. And of course the Lawrence of Arabia was shot there. So he was very knowledgeable about Bedouin culture. You know that it's Bedouin territory there. Correct. So it's the government gave it to the Bedouins. And there are no like 5-star hotels within the desert, and everything is controlled by the Bedouin. But it was just amazing, like, and he was not very good in English, so he asked me if I can, teach him some phrases. And then at the end of the day, he took us to his village, and then we got food and everything, and it was so good for Oliver to see that there are cultures who respect their traditions that deeply, take care of the land, that beautiful land, and they take care of even people from abroad.
Correct.
And they have nothing.
Completely welcoming as well. Yes.
They have nothing. They are not rich, but in a way they are way more rich than anyone with the Platinum Amex.
You're right.
And it was a beautiful moment. They are so generous. and they would give from nothing.
Yes.
And you know, like I'm so happy that Oliver sees this, because you need to be generous, and even very rich people are not very generous.
Correct.
With
they
the word.
hold on to
and they should be, and they should be grateful for what they
being
built.
able to have more. Yes, yeah.
And of course, there are some good examples too, but most of the attitude, especially in Europe now, is hold on to what you got.
That's actually good. I did a conversation. She's a financial advisor, but she talks about relationship with money, kind of the essence of it. And we talked about money in Dubai, because obviously it's a great city. There's a lot of flashiness. There's a lot of people working hard as well and want to make the most of what they earn. But really, just like, for me, I mean, I'm in a corporate job. I have one salary. I work hard for that salary. But for me, I'm always trying to have that giving spirit. And we were talking about, you know, just having something in your financial budget, which is around charitable donations, you know, and having that mindset of being able to release, even if you don't earn a lot, but just something. So it's interesting that you say that, because I think, in this day and age, a lot of people hold on, even those that probably can give, they choose not to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've talked to at the UN social event, social business event. I talked to one of the leaders of the Arabic youth in the region, and she told me, and I was so surprised about that they cannot get their startups off the ground, like climate-related startups. Because all these venture capitals and all the funds, but no, and I'm actually we exchange contacts. Fantastic. And we are trying to help.
Fantastic,
but we cannot help in the extent like a venture capital.
Correct.
But that's very unfortunate that, you know, I think no risk, no gain. And but that's the problem in being in love with money.
Yeah.
You don't want to risk money after you got a lot.
Correct.
And you forget how you earned your first.
Yes.
How you made your big profits. Correct. How much you risked. And I think money, the problem in the financial world now, that money is very slow and standing. It's idle.
Correct.
And this word is in a terrible need of more money pushed into decarbonization, to renewables, to climate related startups and innovation, to stop what's happening. Like, imagine if we could do decarbonization, we would earn a lot of time to do the rest.
Yeah, correct.
We would have all the time in the world with decarbonization to actually change the other things that we become healthier and better as a planet, as a community of human beings. And I think it's big money to make decarbonization. I think there is a lot of money in there, and then I don't have just 3 money, big money, and 4 again big money, and 5 is still big money.
Yeah.
So I don't see why this is not happening.
It's not happening.
That like billions are going into decarbonization, and all in all, I think people are not let into this field of investments, and that's what our company is all about: to give access to people. And I think that's a mission, and our mission is there in our slogan: "Make money, save the planet."
Save the planet. Simple,
very simple. Yes. We wanted to just say it all in our slogan.
That is amazing. I think also what you do, because I wanted to learn a bit more about SunMoney and how it works and how you allow people the knowledge and the know-how to invest and, you know, make money from it as well. Because I feel like a lot of people see it as, it's a nice thing to do. It's the right thing to do, but it's not going to get me wealthy, or it's not going to, you know, build anything for me. And I think maybe that's where the disconnect is.
Yes, it's... I always say when I'm doing public speaking... I always say that people need to be motivated.
Yeah.
So some people are self-motivated. And of course, you see a lot of people doing a lot for the environment. Yeah. But most of the people are very unmotivated. So a lot of people have that attitude.
Yeah.
Like, I do this, but the super rich are traveling with private jets and super yachts and all that. And that's an excuse. And I can live with excuses. You need to let people go through the bridges they praise.
Yeah.
But also, there are triggers in people. If you press those triggers, then they are going to be pro-environment in a minute. One of the most obvious triggers, because I cannot give them happiness.
Correct. Yeah.
So like,
if only.
I wish I would just stand up on the mountain.
Come to me.
Come to me. No, if you're pro-environment, I'll give you happiness. So the biggest motivator in this world is money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you trigger that kind of need or desire for money, and I'm intentionally not saying greed.
Yeah.
But even with greed, I'm okay.
Yeah.
If it goes the right way.
If it goes the right direction.
If it goes in the right direction. Yeah. And if you trigger that, then the world will be better. And some people don't care where they make money from.
That's
so
true.
you should, then they should just turn to us and then make money from zero emission recycling or renewable energy. Also, there are like Gen Z is it's a problem and a blessing, like most of the things in the world. Gen Z is very much caught up in financials and the fear of not having the financials.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And Gen Z is also trending in crypto. So we figured out that the best way to approach this generation is through tokenized assets. So that's our new product out, SDBN. We tokenize solar power plants, put some AI in the marketing, and then now we are on blockchain, and it's actually very successful.
Yeah.
It's phase 3 is coming out very soon from closed sales. It's now in pre-sale phase.
Wow.
It's a whole new world out there, and I think Gen Z needs. We need to. Like every generation has challenges.
Yeah.
I think with Gen Z, you need to reach them on the right channels.
On the right channels, and be adaptable to that as well. Because I think there's a whole new thing. This Gen Z, I'm trying to learn as well in terms of.
And the strangest and most wonderful thing happened to me, and just Gen Z brings up the memory recently. Last year, I had the privilege to be invited to the annual conference of motion picture producers in the world, IQ.
Yes.
This is a 65-year-old organization, very prestigious, Oscar nominees, Oscar winners, Golden Globe winners, and so I got invited to do half a day about climate change and how we can address that and how they can help.
And how they can help,
as movies and series and all that. So I went there with a brand new speech, the top 10 things that can make us go extinct.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You remember David Letterman?
Yes.
So it was in the style of David Letterman top 10s.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was a bit of bittersweet fun for them.
Yeah.
And it was very long, but they reacted in an amazing way.
Oh, fantastic.
And everybody wanted to get involved.
Wow.
And the strangest thing is now that there is a series in early development, which is made from it's a fiction series, so it's not a documentary. Yeah. The top 10 things that can kill you in climate change, and it's called An Endangered Species. And 10 stories from around the world, very actual, shot in or planned to be shot in on location with all local crews. So no like traveling, nothing. It's we want to make it like zero emission, the first zero emission series. Yep. And we want to push it towards to Netflix or Apple.
Fantastic.
But there are there are so many famous producers on it, and it's like when I read, I got the first deck of it, pitch deck of it. It's like I'm there as creator and inspiring all this, and then the next page, like the makers of this, and there are all these guys with whoa,
you're involved and you're involved.
And it's like,
that is impressive.
It's just an amazing experience, and I know it's a long road until we make that serious, but the journey itself and it's I'm such a privileged guy, and I'm such a lucky guy to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Also, there is another show in development earlier from my life, like a couple of years earlier. They started to develop a show for Apple. Which is partially based on my war correspondent years.
Oh, amazing.
But as I know, it's going to be a lady. There's a lot of change, like in timings and everything. But there are some certain episodes which are about based on my life.
But I think that's fantastic, because I always remind myself nothing is wasted, good and bad. You know when you go through a journey, like for me now, like Let's Talk DXB wouldn't have been birthed. I can say that maybe confidently now without crying. If I hadn't have gone through a really difficult period of divorce and single parenting and everything, I can say that now. If you asked me last year, I'm like, I don't care, I don't want to do this. But it forced me to step into really seeking who am I, what makes me happy without, not the monetary, but, and what has God designed me to do. I would have never done this before. Like I would have never put myself so openly out there. I've been in marketing for 15 years, but I am enjoying and I'm thriving and learning through so many different people. So when you talk about your journey and how now it's been turned into something, like nothing is wasted. It all kind of pieces together eventually.
Yes, and just you are really good at this.
Oh, thank
you. So you should push forward.
Thank you. I need that confidence, because there are days I'm like, what am I doing?
You're really good in this.
Thank you.
The camera just loves you.
Oh,
so that's the
lighting.
only thing. You don't have to love the camera, but
the camera just the lighting works.
Nah, it's not the lighting. I can tell.
Thank you.
So, I think it's really true that everything falls into place. The most unexpected ways you make a full circle.
Yes. And
it's weird that I tell you a recent example, but it's always like this, that we are looking for high-level connections in Oman.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get in contact with people there for, 3 years.
Wow.
And sometimes I get an answer. Sometimes I don't even get an answer.
Yeah.
It's hard. I love Oman, I have to tell. I love this region and I love Oman.
Yes.
Such a beautiful place.
It's beautiful, yeah. And the people as well.
And the people are every country is a very different culture here. And I think I miss from Dubai, what I miss is future and everything. What I miss is the old Arabic ways, and Muscat still has that atmosphere, and I love it. And so I'm trying to make connections to push our business there and make partnerships there. And I'm doing this without much result. And I was sitting with my best friend. He's also traveling a lot and caught up in global things. And then we meet and we're talking, and I'm saying this, that I'm just we are trying to get into Oman, and then he says, you want a high-level connection in Oman? It's like, I was like, I'm not going to say who, but he said, we got our economy degree in London, and we were living in the same flat, literally.
Oh my goodness!
With a very high-level person in the Omani state, and I was like, what? And
Your
I was
best friend?
Can you introduce me? Yes, of course. Why did it just say so?
3 years later.
and it's like all these pieces just fall together. Your network, your friends. I think you need to be very definitive about where you want to go.
Yes.
And what you want in your life.
Yeah.
And those have to be like bullseye things, what you have in your mind.
Yeah.
And not big things.
Correct.
Just I want... It's not about money, I think, not about anything material. It's you need to know how you want to be in 10 years. And if you have that bullseye, targeting that bullseye in your life, then just life takes you to where you need to be. And you know what? As I'm getting older, I'm just kind of riding this wave. And I just don't even care about the things which try to stop me, or these bumps and glitches and ups and downs, because you're gonna fall. If you run, you are falling. It's just but I don't even care. I'm just see that life is on a big wave, is taking me in the right direction. Don't care about the side waves. Maybe you're gonna have a little detour. And but it will take you. And I think it's because I ride the wave that I get the wave.
Yes.
And I think it's important to see that and to acknowledge that. And I think it's because I said this yesterday on the Helen Farmer show.
Yes, saw that you're on.
That I think we forgot to acknowledge how privileged we are by just living. And
basic,
And sometimes I say to myself that I'm alive, nothing else, nothing less, nothing more, and that's enough. And because sometimes you need to ground yourself as a human being, that I'm not more than anyone on this world. But I'm not less either.
Correct.
And I think this world needs to learn respecting and enjoying that feeling of just living, that we got this amazing gift. And if you love life, then life will bring you to places.
Yeah, correct. Zoltan, you're speaking to me, because you can get very wrapped up in I need to do this and I need to achieve this, and I can do that at some points where you just forget. I have to chill and I have to pray and I have to ground myself again, because there's times where I have this high anxiety. I'm like, what's making me anxious? It's because my to-do list, or what I want to achieve in this world, which is probably more materialistic, overwhelms me sometimes. And then I have to go back to basics of literally just what you said. Be grateful for each day, to have life, and just appreciate what you have.
Anxiety is a weird thing, and everybody meets anxiety in life. It's an energy.
Yes.
And my experience that every energy can be put to use.
This is it.
And I think it can be a good energy, even anxiety, to push you towards something. So if you put a trigger at anxiety and you know what to do, I use sports or like boxing, and I use meditation as well, and I love it because it's a reset. And I'm not the guy. I'm a very calm person. But I know when anxiety hits me, maybe not on a level, not on that level, or maybe it's not overwhelming me. But still, I know it's there. So I'm worrying about something. And when you have a child, you start that anxiety. I think when ever since Oliver was born, I learned more about anxiety.
It's crazy.
It's like you're so worried about this person.
It's crazy. It's overwhelming, Yes. And I'm usually quite a chilled person, but as soon as I had Zayn, it was a whole nother thing. I was never like that before.
And you need to find what to put next to anxiety in your life, and then when you have it, it can be a good thing. So I'm not like, anxiety can be motivating to go forward.
That's true.
And being too calm is maybe not that motivating.
True.
So I think you just need to find those triggers, but that's part of life and part of our everyday life. What we are doing wrong, and that's just my experience, is that we give too much power to anxiety in our societies, and became it got one of the main roles. It's a celebrity in our life. It's too much about anxiety in media, in books, in pop media, especially. And I think if you listen too much about how anxiety hits, and you learn all these experts are saying that anxiety is this and that, you will find it in your life. Like
it just comes to you. Yeah, exactly.
It's when they start to talk about a new kind of rash too much, that you start to just
have the rash
itch.
the next day.
You start to itch. And I think humanity is itching because of that anxiety push. And we need to forget about that. We need to turn back a bit.
Yeah.
I think that we need to turn back more, give more trust to ourselves and love to ourselves, because we can heal in many ways.
Zoltan, our conversation, literally I've learned so much about like mindset, fear, anxiety, changing the world. Like, you're just so rounded in your thoughts as well, and the way that you've used your experiences to live your life. Yeah, this has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate your time. Like I started with, you've had a really interesting path traveled, and I can see that nothing has been wasted. And yeah, you're just using your experiences to better yourself and others and the world. So it's fantastic.
It was pure gold talking to you. You have great energy, Sharon.
Thank you.
I'm privileged to be your guest here. And I wish you all the success and love in your life.
Thank you.
And also, I just wanted to show one more thing.
Yes, okay, show.
This is my signature T-shirt, and you have to see it. We are endangered species, so think about that.
Think about it.
So we are endangered species, but I like to wear that. It's my campaign.
It's a good reminder. Yeah,
it's a reminder, and hopefully a new series coming up, which will be, I think, a wake-up call.
How cool! Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good times, Sharon. Good times. Thank you very much.
Let's Talk DXB. Real conversations by real people.